Saturday's main event around the country on the thoroughbred side, the $1 million Whitney from Saratoga, grade 1, a mile and an eighth. And there are grade 1 races, and then there are really good grade 1 races. This is in the really good category because you've got Life is Good as any horse in America right now. He and Flightline seem to be on another plane than the rest. How far they'll go, we can discuss. But at a mile and an eighth, Life is Good will be a solid favorite. But he is not without competition in here, Jeff Siegel. Olympiad has rattled off 5 in a row. He loves to sit second and make his one move. Happy Saver. Other horses in this race don't have the speed to keep up early, I don't think. It looks to me like Life is Good sets the lead. Olympiad gets that beautiful spot that he wants, and the race is on for an entire 9 furlongs.
I'm not sure what they're going to do with Hot Rod Charlie with the blinkers going back on. From the 2-hole, they might send him out of there as well. I'm not saying he'll be in front, but I don't think Life is Good is going to be going 24 and 48. And you really wouldn't want him anyway, because that's
right. He'll go.
That's his, wheelhouse. That's his weapon. Make the lead and set good splits and keep going and run everybody else into the ground. But Jeremy, after that disappointing race in the Dubai World Cup, where I thought, and you know how excuses are, everybody's got one, but I actually thought that was a legit excuse where he couldn't get the mile and a quarter on that very deep and tiring track. But I thought he came back and won the Nehru. I thought that was good. I don't think he was 100% cranked up that race. I don't think Todd wanted him to be that tight, but he won the race. But since then, that's what I wanted to look at. Yeah. I wanted to see what he looked like after the Nehru. And what I saw, I'm pretty impressed with.
He ran so well the other morning, he changed the color of the sky at Saratoga. You should take a look at the video from XP TV. He's just coming down the lane nice and easy, half mile, 48-1. And Jeff, you talk a lot of times about workouts of, what did they get out of it? How did they gallop out? We are going to see a textbook fantastic gallop out. The kind to me that almost changes my opinion of a horse in a race, because you and I talked right before we started recording the podcast. We were both on paper very interested in Olympiad to win this Whitney. And then watch the gallop out here by Life is Good. I mean, he looks like he's racehorsing right now. And this is 3 furlongs after the work.
You know what's good about this work, too, is that he doesn't pull in any way. I mean, sometimes you get fast horses and they want to tear out of there and then you got to guzzle them and they work fast, but it's not really a good work. It's not what you want. But Life is Good now at age 4 and with 9 races of experience. He's learned that he doesn't have to work fast. And he didn't. He went 48-1, but he did it at such rhythm and he looked so good doing it. And he's the kind of horse that in the afternoon will show speed, but if you remember his race in the Pegasus World Cup, he made the lead that day. He went 46 and 110, which is not, it's fast, but it's not blazingly fast. Mm-hmm. And I look for the same thing that happened here, because I don't think Olympiad, and when he works out such a great trip, but he's not quick enough to get in front of Life is Good in the first, furlong. I don't think anybody else is, and I'm not so sure Hot Rod Charlie wants to bust out there and go with Pratt. So I think Life is Good's going to make the lead, and he's going to get into his rhythm, and he's going to keep on going. And I would love, as a fan of the sport, to see Life is Good win this race from here to there, and I want to see Flightline win from here to there in the Pacific Classic, and I want to see a heavyweight fight at Keeneland. Wouldn't that be fun?
Long as they get from there to here, and here being the Breeders' Cup, and they get there together. If they win by a mile each and they don't end up clashing in the Breeders' Cup, it'll be a disappointing season, that we didn't get to see that clash. We clamored for years of when will Zenyatta and Rachel Alexandra meet. We're not quite in that length of angst to see the two meet, but boy, I know a lot of people, you and I included, that want to see this matchup of Life is Good and Flightline. Hot Rod Charlie's an interesting horse, second in the Belmont last year, second in the Dubai World Cup, but a really surprising second in the Salvatore Mile. Though I know that day, Mind Control really ran tough. He was strong from the rail that day and showed speed all the way. But boy, if that's your prep to take on Life is Good and the Red Hot Olympiad, I just wanted to see more from Hot Rod Charlie in that last start. I know he's a good horse, but I just don't know if he's as good as these horses at a mile and an eighth.
Well, the only thing that'll save him, and no disrespect to Mike Smith, but he's back with Pratt, who seems to get the most run out of him. So maybe that'll make a difference. I'm not sure what the blinkers on will do. He's worn them before. I don't think it the only thing I'd say about him is his fastest numbers came with blinkers, but I'm curious to see how they're going to ride him, because he's one of these horses. He's not really a closer. I mean, if he's 5-6 lengths off the lead, he doesn't really punch it. He needs to be right in the fray every step of the way. So if I'm Pratt, I'm thinking, I want to win this race, and I can't take him back and make a run. He's just not that kind of horse. So does he gut up inside and keep Life is Good busy early? I don't know. It's a race within a race, and that's what makes this race so intriguing.
If he does, then obviously it's gift wrapping for Olympiad at that point, right? I mean, because that's exactly what Olympiad wants to do, is make that first overrun and pounce. If he gets somebody to do the dirty work in the name of Hot Rod Charlie in this race, Olympiad, and he's just got to be licking his chops at that point. And Junior Alvarado's got to say, thank you, sir. I mean, he still may not win it. He may not be good enough, and Life is Good may dispatch Hot Rod Charlie and still go on. But if you're Olympiad, that may be the absolute best case scenarios for Hot Rod Charlie to come hustling out of there.
Could happen. That's why it's such an interesting race, because it's a terrific race. You've got other horses in here that are very good. Happy Saver on his best day is dangerous. But this is a thinking man's race, and I'm very curious to see